Hello everyone and welcome in the third and final instructional video on how to use the gerund. In chapter 28 we are going to focus on the difference in use between the infinitive and the gerund. You will see that there's actually three options which are being discussed on the first page with the theory. The first one is verb plus infinitive, and these are actually all verbs that are always followed by a to infinitive. You can find those verbs over here, right? Again, the bad news is that there's no specific rule for that, but that you have to learn these verbs by heart. Okay, so that's quite hard, you know. But when you go to the second option, you see that it becomes already a little bit different. Here's a verb plus infinitive or gerund, and there's no change in meaning. So here it really doesn't matter whether you're using an infinitive or a gerund. Example, you prefer to eat healthy meals, or you prefer eating healthy meals. You see that these sentences mean exactly the same thing, so no difference there. That is different in 3. Here we have a verb plus infinitive or gerund, but the meaning is different. Let's have a look. In 3, I forgot to send you a message. This means that this person doesn't or did not send a message to anyone, which is different from I forgot sending you a message, which means that you forgot about it. You can't remember having sent that message. Okay, you see how the meaning can change here. So if you have a look at your page, it's 62 by the way, then you can see that this first paragraph discusses the first option, so verbs that are always followed by to infinitive. Then you have a second option with the verbs that are interchangeable as to infinitive or a gerund, right? I started to yawn means exactly the same thing. I started yawning. Okay, and you have the other verbs over here. And then these are sentences or examples of the third option in which the meaning can change when you use either to infinitive or a gerund. A good example is, for instance, this one as well. I must remember to phone Anne, right? Here you can see that Anne is not been called yet. But here, this is different. I remember meeting Anne in London in 2005. Here, this actually happened already. So there's a difference in this remembrance. Okay, so the same goes for the other verbs, of course. So go through these and remember that they're quite important to remember. Alright, you get a summary of it here, of course. And then we do a few exercises and we follow the same idea, so we'll finish a few and then it's up to you to finish the rest. Let's have a look at this one. So we get two options here and we have to tick the correct one. This is my colleague refused helping me yesterday, or my colleague refused to help me yesterday. Now which one, guys, is correct? To know for sure, we can always check the list and we can already see that the verb is in this list. This means that we are going to use a to infinitive after remember, so after refuse. So it becomes my colleague refused to help me yesterday. Okay, what about agree? Can we find this verb in the theory page? It's also over here. So this means we're again going to use a to infinitive. That's easy also. Okay. Try this for 3, 4, 5, and 6 as well. In this exercise, we have to rephrase the sentences. Okay. So what we get here is Sue wanted to go to the bank, but she forgot. Now, mean is one of those verbs, you can find it over here, which changes in meaning when you use it as a to infinitive or as a gerund. You'll see that we have to use a to form here. So Sue meant to go to the bank. If you write something like Sue meant going to the bank, then you're actually expressing a sentence in which it was not clear what she meant by saying that, and you're clarifying it. But here we use to go to the bank because it's an intention. Alright? Same thing here. Once I went to Alaska, I'll never forget it. Forget is one of those verbs that changes in meaning when it is followed by a gerund or a to infinitive. Here we're making it, I will never forget going to Alaska. If you would say, I'll never forget to go to Alaska, then you already hear the difference in meaning. This would mean that you will never forget to take your plane and actually go there. That's very different, of course. Okay, try the same for 3, 4, 5, and 6. In C, we have to complete dialogues. Okay, so my son is learning. Okay, learning is one of those verbs, guys, that you can find over here, right? So we know that we have to use it to infinitive. My son is learning to drive. Then he hopes. Hope is also one of those verbs which is in the list right above it. So we know that we have to use it to infinitive once more. He hopes to take his test next month. Forget is always more complicated, and here it will really change the meaning when you use it to infinitive or a gerund. I'll never forget, you could write, to take my driving test, but this would be a different meaning from what is actually meant here. Namely, I'll never forget taking my driving test. Okay, at this moment, this person who's saying this is remembering what happened. Okay, therefore you need to use a gerund. Okay, final exercise. We're only doing one of these sentences because there's only 4, but we have to translate again. The sentence is, ik moet eraan denken naar de bank te gaan. Okay, we're going to use the verb remembering again, and so again, it becomes important whether you use a to infinitive or a gerund. The correct option is here that I must remember to go to the bank. If you would have written, I must remember going to the bank, then this means that you want to remember going to the bank once, which is, of course, different. Okay, so that's it for the gerund, guys. Also remember to take the test at the back of your book, and then we'll have a look at it while we see each other in the live conversation as well. So see you soon and good luck with everything. Bye bye, guys.